I'll dive right in and rewrite this into a shorter, tighter version with the exact rhythm and tone you asked for, around 1,000 to 1,200 words, smooth and natural, like someone sitting down and telling you their story straight from the gut. Here's the script. I remember the night I almost died like it was yesterday. My own brother looked me dead in the eye on that boat and said, "You're finished, old man. Everything you built is mine now." His voice still rings in my ears. I could barely stand, my head was spinning, and that bourbon he poured me burned like fire in my blood. Took me a second to realize. He drugged me. Yeah, my own blood did that. And when I called him out, he didn't even flinch. He smiled. Said I stole his life, stole Dad's love, stole the company. To him, I was the golden son who left him scraps. I tried to tell him you had every chance, but his rage, it was bottomless. He slammed into me, fists flying, and before I knew it, we were wrestling on the deck like two strangers instead of brothers. I should have seen it coming. He picked up an anchor weight, swung it hard, and the next thing I felt was cold steel smashing my temple. My vision went white. Then, water. Black, freezing, merciless. He shoved me straight into the river, and just like that, Marcus thought he was free of me. But what he didn't count on was Maya. Maya Williams, a maid he never thought twice about. She'd worked in the house, quiet, steady, invisible in his world. That night, she was trailing us because something felt off. She saw him shove me, and without a second thought, she dove into that storm. River currents tried to tear us apart, waves crashing driftwood, splitting her head open. She still clung to me, gasping, bleeding, kicking against the current. She refused to let go. That woman dragged my half-dead body out of that river onto the muddy bank and whispered through bloody lips, "Not tonight. Not like this." She saved me, and not just once. When I came to in her shotgun house, bruised, broken, unrecognizable, she looked me in the eye and said, "You once paid for my daughter's surgery and never asked for thanks. You saved my girl. Now I've saved you." That hit me harder than any anchor. I'd almost forgotten what it felt like for someone to see me as a man, not just a name on a building. We didn't have long to rest. By morning, Marcus was on TV, crocodile tears, in a black suit, telling the world I'd drowned in a tragic accident. Said I was grieving, drunk, careless. He painted me as some depressed billionaire who slipped off his own yacht. And people bought it. Hell, he even had board members lined up behind him ready to hand him the empire while I was still bleeding out in a stranger's living room. That was the moment I knew it wasn't just survival anymore. This was war. Maya and I started piecing together what Marcus was planning. He'd kept a private journal, old school, paranoid as hell. If we could find it, maybe we'd prove intent. So one night, Maya snuck into his secret apartment in the French Quarter. And damn, she found it. Pages of plans, cold words like frame accident and secure emergency vote. Proof. But she wasn't alone in that place. Some man with a scar on his cheek was there too, stalking in the shadows. She barely made it out alive. From then on, it was clear Marcus had muscle, and he'd come after her if he knew she saw too much. We brought the journal to Howard Green, my old lawyer, a man I'd trusted with my life before. He read those pages and shook his head, said, "This is damning." But he warned us to strike too soon, and Marcus would bury us in lawsuits, so we worked quietly. Maya became my eyes and ears. She met board members who wouldn't even answer my calls. She stood on doorsteps and told truths they couldn't ignore. One of them, Royce, broke down when she reminded him of an old loan Marcus didn't know about. He agreed to back me. Piece by piece, Maya turned the tide. Marcus didn't take it well. He sent his thug, Victor, sniffing around. They broke into Maya's house one night, trashed the place, wrote, "You can't hide forever" on her wall. That was supposed to scare her. Instead, she stood in front of the mess, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "I want to fight." That's when I stopped seeing her as my maid and started seeing her for what she was, my partner. From there, everything escalated. Marcus smeared her name in the press, called her a liar, tried to make her out like some gold-digging actress staging a rescue. But she stood taller. She showed up in community halls and boardrooms wherever he didn't expect her, and every time she carried my truth like a weapon. We even caught Victor on tape bragging about the whole setup. A little bourbon, a shove, a drowning, he said, cocky as hell. That recording was dynamite. We took it to the board, played it right in their faces. Marcus tried to call it fake, sneered at Maya, told her she should have stayed in her lane. And she didn't even blink. She said I pulled him out of that river. He's alive, Marcus. Then I walked in bruised but standing. You should have seen their faces. The color draining from Marcus when he realized his dead brother was standing right in front of him. The board froze his power. The DA launched an investigation. But Marcus wasn't finished. He sent men with firebombs to Maya's house while her daughter was asleep inside. That was the lowest point. Not because of the flames, but because of the picture they mailed her after of her little girl at the playground. A threat in black and white. And I'll tell you this, I've never seen rage like the fire in Maya's eyes that night. She didn't cower. She looked at me and said, "We end this before they end us." And we did. Down by the river where he tried to kill me, it came full circle. The storm was raging. Marcus was waiting soaked in rain, but still smug. He said, "You should have stayed dead. We fought like animals on that dock, slipping, clawing like the river itself was watching." Victor came at us with a knife, but Maya, she swung a flashlight straight into Marcus's head. He stumbled, and this time it was me who shoved him into the water. He went under, screaming he'd rise again. But the river, it doesn't give second chances. After that night, things started to settle. The DA pressed charges, Victor went to trial, and the neighborhood, Maya's neighborhood, rose up like a shield. Folks brought food, patched windows, stood guard outside her house. For the first time in my life, I understood what real loyalty looks like. Not checks with my name on them, but neighbors who won't sell their courage for any price. Now I sit on that porch sometimes watching Maya's daughter draw chalk flowers on the sidewalk, and I think about how close I came to losing it all. She looks at me tired but smiling and says, "We saved each other." And she's right. I might have had the money, but she had the fire. And in the end, that's what saved me. So here's what I want to ask you. What do you think? Was Marcus just a bitter man who finally snapped? Or was he the product of a world that makes brothers into rivals? And what about Maya? Why is it always the people society writes off, the ones treated like shadows, who end up carrying the most light? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own story if you've ever stood up to someone who thought they could erase you. I'll be reading. Word count for this script is about 100, right in the natural 8 to 10 minute range. Do you want me to also craft a 3-sentence YouTube video description and some SEO-style tags, keywords, to go with this script so it's ready to upload?